The construction industry holds its breath. A live special unlike any other. The stakes, sky high. The topic, critical. Two titans take the stage. Nicholas Johnson. Opposite him, AJ Waters. Face to face in a spirited conversation that could reshape the future of the industry. Guiding us through the clash, hosts Manny Innamorato and Alice Menton. This is the ultimate build versus buy debate, and it all starts right now.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Manny Innamorato, former Chief Information Officer for both the New York City School Construction Authority and the New York City MTA bus, spending much of my career helping organizations bridge the gap between business and technology. Along the way, I've seen firsthand how the right digital strategy and solutions can really make a difference and shape an organization. And tonight, I'm excited to be joined by a true industry trailblazer, my co-host and moderator, Alice Menton. As Kahua's Senior Director of Marketing, Alice knows not only what customers need, but also how to turn those needs into reality. She's always ready to roll up her sleeves, sometimes literally, and brings plenty of energy and fun to the table. Alice is a no-nonsense leader who unites teams, gets things done, and somehow makes it all look easy. So if anyone can keep us on track and referee these guys in the great build versus buy debate, it's Alice.
Thanks, Manny. I'm really excited to be here with you to help moderate tonight's showdown. It definitely feels like we're about to witness a clash of the titans, or maybe the rumble in the software jungle, otherwise known as the age-old build versus buy debate. You know, why a lot of people get heated over things like pineapple on pizza or if Die Hard counts as a Christmas movie. Here's the debate that really gets everyone fired up when it comes to digital transformation. Are we buying something off the shelf, or are we rolling up our sleeves and building it ourselves? These are the real questions that keep our customers awake at night and have their accounting departments reaching for that second pot of coffee.
I think you're right about that, Alice. And tonight, we're narrowing it down to what's truly important in the 21st century construction industry. Modernizing how we work, arguing just a little bit, guys, and maybe even settling an age-old question or two. Forget red states and blue states. Today, it's code writers versus credit card swipers. On Team Buy, we have swiper Nicholas Johnson, construction industry sage, cloud technology pioneer, and quite possibly the only person in the industry with his own groupies. He's making the case for off-the-shelf software. Is the express lane to digital transformation.
And facing off is AJ Waters, the MacGyver of construction tech. He spent a decade building solutions for an ENR top 5 contractor. And rumor has it, he can program manage his way out of a locked job site trailer using nothing but a corn husk and determination. He'll be championing the let's build it ourselves approach.
So buckle up, because this is more than just a debate. It's the UFC, the ultimate feature comparison of technology choices. Gentlemen, let's keep it clean. No low blows. And let the best solution win. Nicholas, are you ready?
Ready, Manny.
The opening argument is yours. You have 5 minutes.
Thank you, Manny, for the warm welcome. I feel like I should be wearing a hard hat up here, given the heavy-hitting topic at hand. As Manny mentioned, my name is Nicholas Johnson, and I have spent my career working in and with construction. Most notably, for the last 20-plus years, I've been fortunate enough to work with folks on this very topic, the benefits of purchasing a project management system to support their capital project. If there is one thing that I've learned after thousands of conversations with hundreds of different companies, buying a system that is off the shelf is absolutely the most effective way to digitally transform your project management. First off, digital solutions that are out of the box are fully operational and ready to implement immediately at a much lower cost. Commercial offerings in the software space have already put in the extensive legwork and investment required to build a system. They did the research, they built the processes, and they spent the money. You as a construction builder or owner do not have to worry about those things. Instead, you have the opportunity to tap into industry best practices that are ready to use from the moment you say go. Why reinvent the wheel when you can drive off in a fully fueled up, ready to go race car?
Race car? Yeah, a race car that makes left turns only around an oval track.
Cool your jets there, Junior. I believe I still have the floor. As I was saying, on top of all that, when you're working with software that is out of the box and built on best practices, it's intuitive. It's easy for your people to learn. One expense that's often forgotten when considering to custom build software is that of training. Each requirement that you look to build or process that you wish to automate requires training manuals and videos that teach your people how to use it. Purchasing a solution off the shelf includes all those things, all the training your team would need to get up and running quickly. Not to mention helplines that you won't want to staff yourself. And finally, let's talk about scalability. These solutions aren't just built, they're battle-tested on some of the largest, most complex programs on the planet. The stress and pressure of the job site are second nature to a commercial solution. Not to mention, these systems are on routine maintenance and enhancement cycles, so your technology is growing and evolving with the times, regardless of whether or not you can keep up with innovation in-house. No late-night panic attacks trying to figure out why your homemade software doesn't like the newest updates. While my colleague here may one day invent a brilliant system after years of coding in a bunker somewhere, your company could be saving time and money and a considerable amount of hair by simply buying what's already proven to work. It's plug, play, and prosper.
Thank you, Nicholas. You make some good points.
Okay, AJ, you have 5 minutes for your opening statement.
It's funny, Nicholas. Everything you said was wrong.
Was not.
Thanks for setting me up so well. As mentioned, my name is AJ Waters, and this is my world. You see, we were sold a bill of goods back in the late 2000s that an off-the-shelf solution was the way to go, and many of us bought in. We thought we'd found the Swiss Army knife of software, but turns out it was more like a butter knife. Looks great in the drawer, but try cutting anything other than soft, warm butter.
What do you got against
We
butter?
quickly realized that no matter how out of the box something may seem, it will never truly conform to the way of our doing business. In fact, many of these best practices didn't even understand the common phrases that teams learn in Construction 101. Things like change orders, back charges, production factors, those were all foreign to a solution built by technologists. In order to find something that would keep our competitive edge, we found out very quickly that we needed to build it ourselves. I mean, let's face it, you're never going to have all the requirements outlined for a technology purchase the very first time. Building your own software makes it easy to make changes whenever you want. Missed a step in the process? Add it in. Decided you want to automate a workflow that you didn't have before? Do it without a significant change. Build it out. We spent just over 2 years building a solution, which is right about the time it takes to implement your software out of the box. And by the time our base system was live, we had 3 new products ready in queue to develop right behind it. There are some very specific ways that we did things, and they'd always been done that way.
That's the most dangerous phrase in construction. We've always done it that way.
We're talking about an incredibly successful, incredibly profitable contractor. Obviously, doing things our way was a driving factor to the success. Buying the same off-the-shelf software that every other competitor and their cousin's using, that's not keeping our competitive edge. That's trading in our secret sauce for store brand ketchup. No, we're not going to go backwards in terms of processes. We had our standard operating procedures, and that's what we were going to build. Couple that with a plethora of resources, and you have a win-win for continued profitability and success.
Thank you, AJ. It's clear you have some valuable firsthand experience building a system that's custom tailored to your unique workflow. And there's some real benefits to that approach.
AJ, you started off by saying that Nicholas was wrong. Could you be a bit more specific about which points in his argument you disagree with?
Sure thing. So let's ask the audience real quick. Who here has been a part of a technology implementation? They take forever. Am I right? I mean, when was the last time a tech company delivered on their promised timeline? One of the most significant issues we had when attempting our first out-of-the-box software was a never-ending project. Construction gets a bad rap. There's an old meme out there of a dinghy called original contract, and it's tied to the yacht called change order. Software companies make us look like novices in extending implementations. And when was the last time one size actually fit all? Out-of-the-box processes inherently assume everyone works exactly the same way. I can't remember the last time two projects handled a change order the same way, let alone an entire company.
You think maybe that's where the yacht meme comes from?
Right, because it definitely doesn't come from asking a software vendor for a new feature. The second we run into something that isn't quite intuitive, we get told it's not our process. And so we have to load that into a request and wait and wait and wait. And then we hear it's not really a priority for our other customers. I might as well go stand in line at the DMV. I get things done faster.
Let's summarize. My opponent is against butter and against ketchup.
Okay, all right, gentlemen. Let's remember you both agree to the rules of this debate. So let's keep it factual and stick to the topic. Nicholas, you have the floor. Would you care to respond to AJ's rebuttal?
You know I do, Alice. This kid wants us to believe that because someone, somewhere, wrangled SAP into working, every software solution in the construction space should bow down to that as the gold standard. That's like saying because my neighbor won a hot dog eating contest, he's ready to run a Michelin star restaurant.
Did it have ketchup?
And butter. Now, AJ's given us a whole TED talk here, but let's discuss what he didn't mention. How difficult it is to create user-friendly software. You're a construction company. You build magnificent projects for the world, but these projects are physical, not digital. Are you familiar with the general guidelines on user experience? Sure, you know the rules on where to place a door and what direction it should swing for egress. But do you know where the best place is to put an action button? And what the difference is between enter and return on a keyboard?
That's exactly the point. What is the difference between enter and return? Like, they're the same button.
Return, AJ, is for a typewriter. It returned you to the original side of the paper. It was changed to enter on computers after it began to be more widely used to complete a step or save data. You mentioned that you could continue to tweak the software. Well, that sounds an awful lot like the never-ending implementation that you described earlier. But you know what else it sounds like? It sounds like never-ending training and retraining and retraining. And every time you tweak a part of your system, you need to notify your users and teach them the new way of doing things. Your company had over 10,000 employees. How do you staff something like that? When users are constantly trying to relearn the system, you lose efficiency really fast. And I have always loved the notion of trade secrets separating one contractor from another. While I agree that there are things that set your company apart, you all do document control, and you all do budgets, and you all do contracts, and you all do daily reporting. There are processes on projects that are more repeatable than some contractors care to admit. A lot can be gained by standardizing the way you do business across all your projects. Think of how much easier it is to share resources that way.
There is nothing standard about the way.
And one more thing I'll say about best practices is this. A few software providers do allow you the ability to configure or customize the solution, those little tweaks that you desperately crave.
As I was saying, there's nothing standard about the way we do business. Sure, it would be great to be able to share resources across projects with processes and procedures that were repeatable, but we would need a solution that streamlined these processes to support an initiative like that. Of course, standards like these could decrease time to ROI and increase efficiency, but would that be worth the trade-off?
It is only worth the trade-off if you can be sure that you can build in the missing links. For a solution to best support your use case, it must align with the requirements that your users set forth. Systems do not work for every company off the shelf. You must conform a system to your company.
But to do that, you would constantly be tweaking and updating your user training and guidelines. There would need to be core aspects of the system that didn't change, like a common user interface and intuitive experience. The more you look to build or change, the more important it is to keep things familiar to the end user. There's no room for clunky screens that are hard to navigate or siloed systems that look nothing like the other.
Wait, AJ, are you still talking about building from scratch?
You want to keep familiarity not just in the system, but in the way they do business. The more you can build things to closely mirror and feel familiar to your company's way of doing business, the quicker folks will be able to get up to speed on this transformation.
All right, now I'm definitely confused. Nicholas, I thought you were buying a solution.
Yeah, Nicholas, you can clearly see that the correct solution to the problem of digital transformation in construction is to buy the system off the shelf, built around industry best practices. That decreases your time to ROI, it's easy to use, and it can scale with your business.
No, young man. The correct answer here is to build a system. That way you satisfy all of your requirements, you're able to adjust quickly as the time goes on, and to protect what makes your company special.
Gentlemen, I've got to say, with all the flip-flopping going on up there, it's starting to feel like I'm moderating a debate on a sandy beach. Am I going out for sunscreen?
Let's face it, most construction processes aren't as unique as we like to think. About 80% of what we do is pretty standard across the industry. That's where off-the-shelf solutions shine. They're fast to deploy, cost-effective, and packed with best practices that have already been battle-tested across hundreds of projects. What is great about platform as a service is that you get the quick wins and immediate functionality an out-of-the-box platform would provide. Start small. Why reinvent the wheel?
That's right. But that last 20%, that's where the magic happens. That's what makes your company different. Off-the-shelf software often forces you to conform or live with workarounds. If your processes give you a competitive edge or they're tied to complex project demands, Platform as a Service lets you design solutions that fit exactly how you work. You're not just buying a tool, you're creating one that reflects your DNA. The system adapts to you.
So what you're saying is you actually don't have to choose. Platform as a Service gives you both. Start with out-of-the-box tools for that 80% standard work, then layer on low-code configurability for your unique 20% as your needs evolve. The future isn't build or buy, it's both, and it's already here.
Hold on. Are you telling me that with Platform as a Service, I no longer have to enter my feature request into a queue and wait for a response from the vendor?
Yes.
I remember those days. I'd rather take my shoes off when waiting in line at airport security than wait for a new feature.
Yes, when you buy commercial software, you're getting something built, maintained, and supported by a dedicated vendor with years of experience, which means you don't have to worry about building or fixing it yourself. Vendors take on the responsibility for development, updates, and fixes so your team can focus on delivering projects, not managing software code. For many construction teams, that's exactly what they need. Proven tools with dedicated vendor support.
But here's the problem. When you're one of hundreds or thousands of customers, your voice is just one more item in a growing backlog. At my previous company, the client request list had grown to over 2,200 items for a product that was 9 years old with only a couple hundred customers. And not everyone's request made it to the top of the list. As much as we wanted, if the needs don't align with the vendor's roadmap, you wait, sometimes for years. That's what makes Platform as a Service special. You control the priority and the timing and the functionality. No more fighting for attention from your vendor.
Right. So Platform as a Service solves the vendor's bottleneck problem without making you build software from scratch. You're no longer at the mercy of a vendor's backlog. You or a trusted partner can configure and build the functionality you need when you need it, sort of like the App Store on your phone. If there's not an app for it, you build one. Fast. No more waiting, just progress.
If I have all this freedom to build things myself, what happens to the security of the platform? Can I trust that the data is safe?
Let's not ignore the risk here. When you build software yourself, you also own the responsibility for making it secure and defending it from attacks. Do you remember that massive data breach right before Christmas a few years ago? The network of that big company was not compromised through their own security, but through a third-party HVAC subcontractor who had access to their system.
And one of the biggest advantages of buying off-the-shelf software, especially in today's environment, is security. With a platform as a service system like Kahua, which has invested heavily in meeting rigorous standards like FedRAMP and GovRAMP certification, you're inheriting that level of protection.
With Platform as a Service, you're building on a foundation that's already secure and certified, FedRAMP, GovRAMP, and more. The platform owner takes care of the hosting, infrastructure, and baseline security, while you get the freedom and flexibility without putting your data at risk. Thank you, gentlemen. Those are some great insights. I think that's really going to help our audience as they try and figure out the best approach for their own digital transformation journeys.
Yes, thank you both. And thank you, Alice, for helping me keep that lively debate in check. We definitely navigated some twisty turns, convincing arguments, and probably broken the record for software analogies in a single evening. But if there's one thing we can all agree on, is that the path to digital transformation in construction simply isn't build or buy. It's really both.
Manny, since these guys can't figure out exactly where they stand on this debate, why don't you help clarify for our audience, sharing the approach you've taken at New York City School Construction Authority to decide whether you needed to build or buy?
All right, I'll give it a shot. For all the reasons you just heard these guys bring up, we knew without a doubt that we did not want to build our own software. We want to build schools, and we want our clients to operate and maintain what we built. But at the same time, these projects are intricate with more than normal number of moving parts. Our business process is not the same as someone who builds a house or an office building. So off the shelf wasn't the answer. Every vendor, it seems, will tell you that their COTS software is configurable, even highly configurable. But what we found related to this was quite lacking. With a past product, we were not just able to configure the software. We changed when it was necessary when we changed. We saw firsthand why Gartner reports that by the end of this year, over 70% of all software development will be done on no-code platform as a service.
Thank you, Manny. I think you hit the nail on the head, and that's where Kahua stands out. Kahua gives you a platform designed specifically for construction, combining the sophistication of a proven, ready-to-go solution with the flexibility to adapt to the way you work, not the other way around. No more trying to fit a square peg into a round hole, or wondering if your software speaks the same language as your project team.
That's right, Nicholas. It's about time we finally agree on something. Let me just take a second to thank our audience for tuning in and to offer this call to action. Don't let indecision or outdated tools slow your progress. Instead, see for yourself how Platform as a Service helps leading construction organizations build better, collaborate easier, and stay one step ahead of the competition. Take the leap and go farther, go faster, go Kahua.
And with that, thank you all for joining us. And remember, the future of construction is being built right now.
Good night, all.